Welcome, everyone. I'm here today with Liesel Teversham. My name is Dorota Godby. I'm Liesel's colleague, and I love referring clients to her. Um, so I would love to ask her a few questions today so that people know when to come to her, what problems to bring to her, and how she can help. And she was willing to do this rather than me explaining why I'm referring to her. I would love people to get a sense of her energy this way and to hear from the host's mouth of what support she's offering. So, Lisa, thank you for being here to answer this question. And
Thank
we're
you.
both serving highly sensitive people, and I know as a fellow sensitive also that sometimes it's vulnerable to reach out when we most need help. Sometimes we wait too long, and sometimes we're too overwhelmed to imagine that our problem is even solvable. So, would you tell people what moment you would like them to reach out from rather than being scared that um, that maybe their problem is not solvable or that maybe the conversation will be too much for them.
Thank you. That is such a great question.
Mm.
And I know what it's like to feel vulnerable. Well, I have
Mm.
this problem and I don't want to tell a stranger about my problem, never mind for them to help me with it. So
Mm.
I really get that place. And um, often people reach out to me when they are truly feeling overwhelmed. And that overwhelm can be emotionally or mentally, or even when too many physical issues are showing up for them. And I would rather people reach out when they're not so overwhelmed yet,
Mhm.
so that we don't have to do a lot of crisis management. However, even if they are in that place, I absolutely can help them to get out of the overwhelm because the tools that I use are specifically there to help us get out of the fight, flight, freeze type of place so that we can think more clearly and calmly and make wiser choices and take action in our lives. So the place of my relationship is just going wrong and it's overwhelming for me and I don't know where to start to fix it, or um, I've had this baggage for 50 years and I am done with all this baggage that is triggering me in every relationship, whether it's at work or my partner or my
Mm.
children, things like that. That just when you're in that place of emotional overwhelm and I can't think through it. There's too much going on, my work, the state of the world, all of it is just too much. And then we start just one step at a time and we start making a difference.
Beautiful. And so I want um, to say from the experience of receiving your support as well that you work on two levels as a kind of first aid when things are very, very tender and maybe there's high dysregulation of vulnerability. And I also know that there are long-term benefits of working with you, of using emotional freedom technique. So apart from people being helped, when they're just not coping, or maybe don't know where to begin, and you can grab them by the hand and start calming and decompressing together, which I've experienced. I refer to you in myself as a balm, so a balm of an energy to be supported by. And apart from de-escalating, the vulnerability, in what ways can emotional freedom technique and your work help people long term? I would love for people to also know, how it's both and it's helping the difficult and the longer term benefits. Would you just explain in what way that works?
Yeah, thank you. It's when we are children, um, we learn certain responses to the world, to difficult situations, and as a little child, because nobody teaches us, there's a part of us that makes a kind of a solution to say, "Oh, this is the way I'm going to do it," and it worked this way, and that can be like we start having responses like either going into fight, like we have very argumentative,
Mm,
or flight, like I don't like conflict at all, or we freeze and we shut down and it's like, no, I'm not allowed my
mm,
emotions. And so we have these strategies to deal with life as
mm,
situations come up in our adult world. And very often, those strategies are not really the best way forward for us as adults. Maybe it worked for us as a child and we got through life that way. And those parts of us got us through it magnificently. So they deserve our love, respect, and gratitude. However, as adults, we often want to actually respond in different ways without going into like, oh, I just want to like, fight with this person, or
mm,
not wanting to, but I do it anyway, or running away from situations. So EFT is a wonderful way, the methods that I use,
mm.
wonderful ways to help calm those parts of us who still respond in the way that we learned as maybe a 3-year old or a 5-year old or a 10-year old. So it starts happening gradually over time. Sometimes it can be a big movement from one session, but it usually is a gradual process. If we've had a same strategy for 50 years,
Mm.
it's not necessarily going to change overnight in a huge, just a miracle drop from heaven. It's slow, gradual process that I find is the best for a sensitive system to help integration to happen over time, and new ways of being in the world, to not feel another level of uncertain and threatening, and how will people respond to me now that I'm so different.
Mm. So that there is a way that um, people can sort of uh, begin to be able to respond from the most adult self and from the most regulated self, rather than from the inner child that takes over to survive in the familiar way, but not so helpful maybe.
Exactly like that.
So and and is there a way that people can begin to learn how to do this themselves outside and between the sessions?
Yes, so I always teach them to the best of my ability how to use EFT between sessions, because I'm not with them every single moment and I want people to be empowered. So I
Mhm.
teach them simple ways to use EFT for themselves in between sessions. I have a little course that I wrote many years ago and they always get free access to that as well. So just simple ways, because when we are overwhelmed already, we don't want to like, oh, this big thing now. I need to do this very big thing for myself. We need simple ways to tackle the overwhelm moment so that we can just take one step forward. We don't need to solve the whole problem, just one step forward. What's going to help me now in this moment? Yes.
Oh, I love that because I know that from experience that it's one thing to know something, and if we most need it, sometimes it goes out of the window. So to have a way to bring ourselves back to kind of the dashboard and to agency, it's precious. And I know that you do teach it, so which is why I asked. And so I'm curious if someone is sensing your energy and feeling safe with your voice and how you are describing your work. Uh, what is coming closer to you? Like how does a person get in touch? What does it look like to begin to consider working with you?
Thank you for asking. So my website, savvyselfgrowth.com, has a page, free conversation. So that is right on the home page, right at the bottom. There's a button that says
Mm,
book a free conversation, and they can fill in the brief form. It's just so I have an idea of the kind of issues that they would like to work with. And then after that, we book a free conversation. So it's first a little bit of information for me. Then
mhm.
we book a free conversation of 30 to 45 minutes in which I have I just ask questions about, tell me a little bit more about the problem and what you would like instead, and what you've tried and what hasn't worked for you and what has worked for you. So we just get a little bit of a lay of the land and maybe a little bit about the background, because we're all a unique ecosystem with lots of factors that have influenced us. And then they're welcome to ask me questions like, how is it to work with me and what are the kind of options? And we decide together. It's really a very free flowing, just a conversation between two human beings sharing a little bit about each other. so that we can decide, are we the best fit? Am I the best person in that moment to support them? Or do I know another person that's going to be
Hmm.
better for them in this moment? And then if they decide, yeah, it feels good, then we decide how we're going to work together. There's two different options, 2 times or 4 times a month. And I also ask for a commitment of 3 months in the beginning because 3 months feels, I have just seen from 20 years of experience that starts offering us a really good sense of the progress that is happening. And the nervous system feels safe in that time to open up more and to share more and to feel just safe in the process of change. And then after the 3 months, we decide what's best next. Do we continue once a month or do we continue twice a month or does it feel like a natural place to pause?
Okay, lovely. So it sounds that was gonna be my next question, whether 3 months is the complete journey or whether people can stay with you longer if they want just to have an ally in their lives who has their back and you.
Yeah,
So it's possible also to experience your work as a long-term mentoring, is it?
absolutely. Because very, very often at the end of 3 months, it's like people start realizing what is possible. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not the complete work. You know, if you've had a pattern for 50 years, it's not going to completely transform in 3 months' time. I prefer gentle, gradual, kind, smaller steps for sensitive people so they can integrate and feel safe in the process. And so, very often people stay for a year and a half, but that's not required. Many people do pause
Mm-hmm.
after 3 months, or it's very possible to come back in 6 months and say, I've got another issue that I now need to work with. So, there are various ways,
Mm-hmm.
none of them written in stone. So, we go individually, uniquely.
I love it. So I would like to finish by asking you if someone is, how could we encourage someone who is feeling shy about reaching out, but we know that there is no need to wait and delay support. What could we say to them? I don't know, actually, because it's a kind of question for you and me. What could we say to them about support being available and that it makes such a difference that why wait?
Wow, that's a great question. Well, let me speak from my life.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I have dealt with a problem that feels insurmountable to me, when I wait and wait and wait, and I don't ask for support, which is sort of my default, is like, no, I'll do this myself, which I've
Mm-hmm.
had from, 57 years ago. Um, the problem feels worse and worse and worse, and I am less and less able to figure out
Mm-hmm.
a way to get through it. And the minute I reach out for support and I actually get the support, it feels so much, I just feel so much relief and like, why didn't I do this long ago? And just having a hand holding me and feel like I'm not alone with my problem just relieves so much of the stress about it that I always say, why did I not do this long ago? So that is just from my personal experience how it feels to me when I have a problem and I get the support that is necessary. It just removes layers and layers and layers of stress, and life just can become to feel like there's hope. I can get through this. There's just a different feeling in my body, and I can sleep again.
Thank you so much, because I wish for everyone and our beloved sensitive folk to hear this, to make use of it, and I'm so glad that I was able to somehow um, um, give a sample of your energy on how it feels to talk to you, to those people who are wondering whether you are a support for them and who are wanting that. And so, folks, don't wait, get hold of it sooner, because it's true, the longer you wait, the harder it is to reach out, and the more of coming back home is required. So reach out to Liesel. and have that conversation. And my first-hand experience and testimonial is that it just feels so good to be in her hands and be championed and listened by her. So thank you so much for being able to um, give me this opportunity to show people who you are and to refer, to recommend. Blessings. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dorota. It was just a joy talking to you. Thank you.
Thanks.